Frau Perchta, or Berchta, is rooted in Alpine paganism across Upper Germany and Austria. Her name likely means the bright one or the bearer. Originally a pre-Christian goddess of winter, fertility, spinning and the household, she's linked to goddesses like Holda and Frigg. During Christianization she became demonized into a witch-like crone who roams the Rauhnächte, the 12 days of Christmas. She's depicted as an old hag with an iron beak, wrinkled face, cane, and a big goose or swan foot. She inspects households during the 12 nights between Christmas and Epiphany, judging children and young servants. She would know exactly whether they had behaved well and worked hard all year. The good ones received a silver coin in a shoe, while the lazy or disobedient were punished by having their bellies disemboweled and filled with straw and pebbles. Eating anything other than the traditional fish and gruel on her feast day could lead to the same punishment. The Nachtkrapp is a beast from German and Austrian folklore, living in areas such as the Black Forest. Most legends describe it as a large raven with a white razor-sharp beak, either soulless eyes that consume the souls of mortals, or no eyes at all, sometimes rotting with exposed flesh. It comes out at night to punish disobedient or naughty children. It steals them from beds or snatches them outdoors after dark and carries them away to its nest. Either it eats them, tearing off limbs before pecking out their heart, or takes them away in a bag so they never return. Some versions are milder, where it only frightens children by cawing and flapping its wings until they are horrified. In northern Germany, the Nachtkrapp is depicted as a powerful night bird with iron wings, beating those to death who have offended or imitated it. A rare Austrian variant, the good night raven, enters children's rooms to sing them to sleep. The Mara, or Nachtmar, appears in German myths, especially in Pomerania and Rügen. She is a lone female spirit who visits you in your sleep, causing terrible nightmares, cold sweats, sleep paralysis, and sometimes suffocation. She enters through small openings in walls, roofs, windows, or chimneys, then sits on your chest, making it hard to breathe or speak, sometimes gripping your throat. Her victims become trapped in a nightmare-like state until called by their baptismal name. She was also blamed for cold sores, known as being kissed by Mara, with a folk remedy of kissing a stone wall 3 times. Preventive measures included placing offerings such as buttered bread or water around your bed. She was believed to dislike math, yet compulsively count, so placing cow hairs or seeds in a room could also distract her. Turning slippers upside down near your bed was also thought to keep her away. Krampus is a horned goat-like demon with a long tongue from alpine regions such as southern Baden-Württemberg, Austria and Bavaria. Rooted in pre-Christian winter rites and later adapted into Christian customs, he serves as the dark counterpart to Saint Nicholas. While Nicholas rewards good children, Krampus punishes the naughty. He comes on the night before Saint Nicholas' feast day, when he checks which children will not receive gifts. Punishment scales with misbehavior. Minor offenders may get a lump of coal, moderate ones are beaten with birch rods, and the naughtiest are chained and carried away in a basket to hell for a year. Krampus remains part of local festivals in Austria, where people in Krampus costumes chase both children and adults. The Bahkauv is a creature lurking in the forests of Aachen in western Germany, described as a deformed calf with long fangs that waits near springs, streams and the sewers. Its victims are almost always drunk men returning from taverns at night. The Bahkauv jumps onto their shoulders, weighing them down and forcing them to carry it, before exhausting, robbing or killing them. It gets heavier if you pray or beg, and lighter if you cuss. A legend claims that Frankish King Pippin the Younger killed a Bahkauv near a spring. The city of Aachen maintains the myth through public statues. One erected in 1902, melted during World War II for material, and a replacement installed in 1967, which remains today. The Tatzelwurm is a lizard-like creature from alpine folklore, described as having a feline head and a serpent-shaped body. It's sometimes venomous or able to kill with a poisonous breath. It lives in tunnels and caves dug into rock and, though generally shy, is considered aggressive and dangerous toward people and livestock. Accounts appear across the Austrian, Bavarian, French, Italian, and Swiss Alps. In 17th century Switzerland, one specimen about 7 foot long was blamed for draining cows' udders until it was killed. Another encounter described one with a large head, 2 forelimbs, and a breath that caused dizziness and headaches. A well-known Swiss tale places the creature on Mount Pilatus, where it burned stables and killed livestock until Knight Heinrich von Winkelried killed it with a sword, only to die after its poisonous blood touched his skin. Modern reports include an Austrian forester in 1899 who claimed the creature attacked him with poison spitting. More sightings were noted in Lake Mondsee in 1860, in Italy's South Tyrol in the 1980s, and around the big Italian lakes and Austria's Enns Valley. A large skull once thought to belong to such a beast, now in the Klagenfurt Regional Museum, was identified as a 30,000-year-old woolly rhinoceros. Other accounts place the creature in the mountains of Carinthia. To potentially meet one, locals say one should start by having a schnapps, and then walk up the mountains at night listening for any unusual sounds. The Pied Piper of Hameln is a medieval legend from Lower Saxony. In 1284, the town faced a severe rat infestation. A piper in multicolored clothing arrived, offered to remove the rats for payment, and led them into the Weser River with his music, where they drowned. But when the mayor refused to pay the agreed sum, the piper left, swearing revenge. He returned on June 26th, St. John and Paul's Day, while the adults were in the church and played his pipe in the streets. This time, he lured 130 children out of the town and into a mountain cave, where they vanished. The Rhines claim he drowned them like the rats, returned them only after extorting payment, or kept them forever. Inscriptions on Hameln buildings and a 1384 town record lament 100 years since our children left. The Morbach Monster is a legend about Frenchman Thomas Schweitzer, a cursed soldier said to have served in Napoleon's army. During the 1812 retreat from Russia, he joined Russian deserters and turned to banditry. In Morbach, the group murdered a farmer and his sons, but the farmer's wife cursed Schweitzer to become a wolf at the next full moon before he killed her as well. When the full moon came, Schweitzer turned wolf-like and began raiding farms around Morbach, killing livestock and people with growing brutality. His own gang abandoned him, leaving him to attack alone for years. After he targeted a farmer's daughter, Elisabeth Bayerle, the villagers hunted him down to a forest hideout. He fled but was cornered and killed in the nearby village of Wittlich. Fearing his return as a werewolf, villagers buried him beneath a shrine of the Virgin Mary and kept candles burning to contain him. The shrine still exists today, and Morbach's folklore holds that the candles must never go out to prevent the monster's return. American airmen stationed at Hahn Air Base reported seeing a large wolf-like creature around 1988. These sightings occurred when the shrine's candle was left unlit. The Roggenmuhme is a female grain demon, described as an old woman with extremely long breasts thrown over her shoulders, fingers that spit fire, and a birch cane or whip that sparks lightning. She is described as entirely black or white, with breasts filled with tar and tipped with hot iron. She can change into animals such as snakes, turtles, or frogs as well. She walks cornfields and eats the grain, but when it's dry or bad, she punishes the farmer. She then targets his maidservants and children, especially those looking for cornflowers. She steals them, forces them to drink tar from her deadly chest, blinds them, or pounds them in an iron butter churn. The Nachzehrer is a ghoul-like undead creature from German folklore. A person who took its own life, or is the first to die out of a large group, can become a Nachzehrer. First, it consumes its own flesh and burial shroud. Then, it searches for people to consume, starting with their family members. The Nachzehrer didn't have to rise from the grave, because its hunger traveled through the soil. After devouring its family, it will continue to cause chaos in a town. Some accounts say that if its shadow touches someone, their death will be imminent. If the Nachzehrer gets its hand on church bells, the noise will cause people within earshot to drop dead, allowing him to feed on them. To defeat the creature, coins were placed in the mouth to obstruct chewing, jaws were bound shut, and the corpse was reburied face down. These traditions appear in records across Pomerania, Silesia, Bavaria, and Dresden, where the Nachzehrer remained persistent well into the 19th century. The Aufhocker is a shapeshifter creature that waits on bridges and forest edges for lone travelers, especially in the regions of Swabia and Franconia. It can appear as a goblin, beautiful woman, corpse, or various animals. Its attack is always the same. It leaps onto your back and grows impossibly heavy until you collapse from exhaustion, but often it just rips out your throat. The Aufhocker mainly preys on thieves or criminals, but also elderly women. The Bergmönch or Meister Hämmerling is a giant in black robes with white hair and red eyes, said to roam mountains and mines in Germany's Harz or Erzgebirge regions. He is feared for his ability to wipe out entire crews with a single poisonous breath. He can also crush or fling victims without touching them. The best known tale involves a group of miners and a brutal foreman. Angered by the foreman's cruelty, the Bergmönch crushed him with his knees. Stories note that he may reward good miners by keeping lanterns lit or revealing veins of gold, yet his temper is volatile. Whistling, cursing, or scolding his efforts to fill excavated ore can provoke his sudden violence. The mystery of the Berghain. Berlin is famous for its techno music, and at the core of that reputation is the nightclub Berghain. It's infamous for its very selective door policy, controlled by bouncer Sven Marquardt, seen as the ultimate gatekeeper, even turning away celebs like Elon Musk or Britney Spears. His decisions are unpredictable and never explained. Rumors claim that wearing black improves your chances, but thousands queue for hours only to be turned away without comment, which has led to accusations of discrimination and endless speculation. Because Berghain enforces a strict no-camera policy, no one knows what actually happens inside during its long weekend parties. This secrecy has fueled theories that the club operates as a private cult. Those who have entered refuse to describe details, reinforcing the mystery. Die Weiße Frau is a ghost said to have haunted several aristocratic castles across Europe, especially within the Hohenzollern family. Reports date back to the 15th century. She is not hostile unless provoked, but her appearance signals impending disaster, most often the death of a family member. The most famous version links her to Countess Kunigunde of Orlamünde. She murdered her two children by piercing their skulls with a golden needle to make it look natural. Her motive was to remove them, as an obstacle to a suitor she wanted to marry. After death, her guilt turned her into the White Lady, condemned to haunt castles in places like Berlin and Plassenburg. Witnesses describe a pale woman in white gliding through corridors. Sometimes she taps a person's forehead or passes through them, after which they fall ill, go mad, or soon die. Historical accounts insist she has appeared in multiple castles at once. Lorelei is a siren-like creature tied to a steep rock on the Rhine near St. Goarshausen. According to legend, she was a beautiful woman with golden hair who was betrayed by her lover, but she was accused of seducing men to their death. Instead of execution, she was sent to a nunnery. Escorted by 3 knights, she passed the Rhine rock, asked to climb it one last time, saw a vision of her lover in the river and fell to her death. This is when she turned into a vindictive siren who sits on the cliff, combs her golden hair and sings, distracting shipmen who stare and crash on the sharp rocks. Hundreds of real-life ship accidents at the site have been documented since the 10th century, including a 2011 accident carrying sulfuric acid that capsized near the rock. Some say it was Lorelei, others blame sharp river bends and deep currents.